From 1961 to 1975, the Hmong and other Lao people of the highlands of Laos helped the United States fight against communism in Laos and Vietnam. When Laos became communist, the Hmong were labeled as rebels by the new government and fled their country, becoming political refugees. They were offered safety and freedom in the United States, France, Australia, Canada, and other Western countries. 30 years after the Vietnam War ended, over 55,000 Hmong lived in the Central Valley of California. Fresno became home to the largest Hmong population outside Laos. Charles Vang shares with us his journey.
I born in Laos, a small country in the middle of Vietnam and Thailand, south of China, Southeast Asia. Where I was born, there's no electricity. Most of my people will live in the mountain. No road, only walking road. No road for automobile. Very few. I saw automobile, but a lot of my relatives they don't see automobile. We see helicopters because my father was in the military. 1975, when the U.S. pulled out of Southeast Asia, and then we escaped to the jungle. We stayed there for about 2 years, and the communist soldier keep chasing us, so we got no place to go. Every time, as soon as we have our crop ready to collect, then the soldier came, then burned all the crop. So a lot of people were dying for starvation. Some people get shot at, some people get bombed. I see some people got blew out by airplane. They drop a bomb in our village, little village. And then my family and I, we escaped to Thailand. When we got into Thailand, they put us in a refugee camp. We thought it was wonderful. If you look at that, it's not wonderful. It's a lot of, they will put like 30 to 40 family in one building in refugee camp. My family been doing that for about 10 months. Then we, because my father got missed in action, so we are one of those people that have privilege to come to the United States. And then the U.S. Embassy came to the camp and looking for these people who should and were supposed to come to the United States. They got a hold of us, and we have a picture. We have a document that my father was disappeared during the war. We don't know where he went. He was just disappeared. I remember the day when he was jumping the airplane with a whole bunch of American soldiers, and then he never came back. This is the last time I saw him. They came to the U.S. Embassy, sent some people, came to the camp in Thailand, and they start interviewing us. About 2 months later, we get into a bus in the camp, go to Bangkok, and then come to the United States. I remember I was a kid, but my mom, she has very little information about the United States. A lot of my people, they don't know what the United States is. We thought that was just a border from Thailand. So we thought that, well, if we can walk across the border to Thailand, maybe we can walk across the border to the United States. We did not know there was an ocean away, about 1,000 miles away. But then we know that a lot of us will not see our relative. A lot of us will not see our family again. That's what we've been told. And then we went to Bangkok. Then that's the very first time that I see modern buildings, see cars, see different things, electricity, television, and that is open to a new world. I thought I was in a new world.
But Bangkok was not the new world for which Charles and his family were destined. In November of 1979, America became their new home.
We got into San Francisco, and then stayed there for 2 days. And then when we got to Santa Ana, to meet with our sponsor. to meet our sponsor. They take my family and another family. So 6 of us, and then 6 of them, they put us to a 3-bedroom house, 12 people, into a 12 people in a 3-bedroom house. I think it's about 2 baths.
For Charles and his family, starting over in America really meant starting over. They had to learn everything from the beginning.
Because we are learning the process, how to use the stove. We learn in the process how to use the bathroom. Some people think that we, to send us very quickly to the school, maybe the children will not be able to use the bathroom at the school, or don't know where to go. So that's why they train us in this little house for about 2 weeks. From everything, how to turn on the stove, how to flush your toilet, how to switch the electricity, the lights on, off, and so on. We will learn everything from beginning. But to us, it's beautiful, because we usually, back in the refugee, we sleep on the ground, on dirt. You just put your blanket on it and then you sleep on it. Now you see, whoa, I can walk on my blanket now. There's a lot of beautiful, colorful blanket that I can walk on. So we think that this house is beautiful. The last, about 5 years ago, I drive by this house back in Orange County, and I say, wow, geez, how can I leave this house for about 2 years? You know, it's just like a rat. Someday, maybe I'll go to ask the owner and see if I can buy that property and make a history, or just for a memory.
Despite minor struggles, Charles described his new life in America as guided by God.
You know, to look back, I think God have a good plan for my family. Beside in Laos and Thailand, in this country, we kind of move very smoothly. So I don't see a lot of struggle compared to in Thailand, because I already been so struggled back in Laos and Thailand. So in this country, we doing very well. We follow the system very well.
While a senior in high school, Charles became employed at a bank. He would hear stories of Fresno and their large Hmong community, so he visited often, but never intended to live there.
But one day, the bank manager, he called me over and said, hey, we want to talk to you. I went to his office and said, you know, we want to transfer you to Fresno, because the bank see that you can help them out in Fresno. Work as a new account. So I said, well, okay, well, I never liked in Fresno. Well, we'll pay you to move to Fresno. We'll rent a house for you. We'll pay your expense to move there.
The move from Orange County to Fresno helped Charles meet people through networking. It also opened his eyes to a huge need in the Hmong community.
Every time when we go to a meeting, to a workshop, people start asking me, you know, these Hmong people, there are so many of them, but we have problem can talk to them. We have problem connect to them or send a message to them. I wish there should be a Hmong newspaper or Hmong TV, and that's how it got me started the media.
Charles was inspired to start a Hmong media network called Hmong TV and a newspaper called the Hmong Times.
Yes, I'm the first Hmong guy ever do a radio show. The Hmong guy, very first Hmong guy to do a TV and to publish a newspaper. To be in the media, be in the TV, be in the newspaper, be in the radio, that is something that I can open my community's eye, that I can educate them, instead of go door to door and tell them, say, hey, you know, there's a better world out there.
One day, a client impressed upon Charles a new career idea.
Him, you know, he's an attorney, so he's advertising through my TV program. And I asked him, because he drives a Mercedes, he lives in a nice house, and I say, hey, you know, if you were not an attorney, what else would you do? He said, I will become a bail bondsman.
and thus began Charles's successful career as a bail bondsman. On becoming an American citizen,
yes, I become an American citizen on my 18 years old birthday. So and that's how you got my name, Charles. You know, how I got that. I went to school. That's a struggle, and you know my Hmong name is Chu, so people start making fun of me. Chu 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 like that, and then my teacher would say, okay, from now on we're gonna call you Charles, because I think it would be more comfortable to you. And that's how I got this name Charles during my high school. And then I know that I'm not gonna be able to go back to Laos. I may go back, but not the way I'm thinking.
Charles and his wife have 3 young boys. However, in raising them, Charles took a different approach than what is common in Laos.
To have your children be successful, sometimes you have to agree with the children. It may not be right, but sometimes you have to try hard to understand what they are trying to say to you. And back in Laos, the parents, when you are children, they think that your idea always wrong and their idea always right. Now and that's how I was felt when I was a child. Now I'm become the parents. I'm looking the other way, and thus I see 2 different pictures. Yes, everybody's right. The children's right, and also the parents' right. It just you just have to spend a lot of time to understand each other. So
though successful, Charles doesn't necessarily classify his lifestyle as comfortable.
Well, you know, I'm not comfortable yet. Other people will say you should be comfortable. I think I can do better. I still young and I still have a long way to go. So I'm not considered to be comfortable, but I live a okay lifestyle. I have 4 children that I choose the time to play with them whenever I want and take them to a place that wherever they want to go. So life in America, living like that, choose the day that you want to go to work and the day you do not want to go to work, it's supposed to be a good lifestyle. Some people would say you should be comfortable because you choose your own hour to work, you choose your own time to go to vacation, you should be comfortable. I have not been feel comfortable yet because I have a lot of things in my mind that I want to do.
His advice to new immigrants?
Takes everything you have. Success takes everything you have, but it's doable. You have to have, it takes that you have to associate with the right people. It's just like I mentioned to you earlier, a lot of my friends are very successful people. And that's why I end up to be very closer to where they're at. So, but don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Learning as much as you can and use whatever you learn to apply to the real world.
Dr. Jasbir Singh Kang helped found the Punjabi American Heritage Society, an extremely active organization dedicated to bringing awareness among local American people, including the American-born Punjabis, about the Punjabi culture. His message of American by choice has received widespread embrace. Dr. Kang invited KBTV to his office in Yuba City to hear about his journey to America.
Yeah, before I came to USA, I used to live in a city called Patiala. It's in the Punjab state of India. I have 4 other siblings, so I was number 4 in the family. I have a younger brother than me, so I lived with my parents. And we lived in a small house, but fairly comfortable. I will say a middle-class setting. My father was a veterinarian. He was actually a scientist and a veterinarian. And my mom was basically a full-time mom. She raised 5 kids. My current wife, we were talking to each other at that time. We didn't have emails or anything. We used to write letters, so we were kind of haven't met each other. She was somehow through a common relative was introduced to me. So in early 86 or late 85, she came to visit India, so we decided to get married, and she was already a US citizen. So that made it very easy for me to immigrate here. I really grew up in India, loving India very much. But in 1984, it's a very sad time for many of us. In 1984, the Punjab state had some political issues with the federal government. So that time, the federal government violated many human rights in Punjab. So the people in Punjab were very upset with federal government. And I was a young 22, 23-year-old man. Obviously, when you're at that young age, you're very idealistic. And I felt I didn't feel comfortable. I will have a great future if I have strong opinions on certain issues. So I knew I couldn't change the federal government's views. So I decided to come to America because I knew that America is a place that there's a lot of freedom of ideas and freedom of speech.
So Dr. Kang and his wife, already an American citizen, moved to America from Punjab in 1986. It was a mix of emotions.
Actually, when the plane was landing in San Francisco, when I was on the window seat, and when I saw that it kind of I had this, there was a feeling of happiness, and at the same time there was a sad feeling that you left your home behind, but this is your new home. So I was very excited when I landed here. But then after a few days, the kind of excitement kind of melts away, and you feel, oh, did I do a right thing by coming here, leaving your home? But then you gradually, make a place for yourself and start feeling comfortable here. And then learning the new culture and learning new ideas. And obviously, although I did speak English in India, but the accent and learning new words. For example, here we say, "Are you mad?" That's like, that "Are you upset with me?" In India, you say, "Are you mad?" means you're crazy. So there are a lot of words like we say here, schedule. In India, we say schedule. So I will say, "What is a schedule?" And a person will look at you, "What?" Like another funny thing is, we call a razor. In India, they call it rubber, and that really sounds funny if you tell, "I need rubber." So there's a lot of new things you have to learn, when you come to a new place,
Dr. Kang and his wife have 3 kids. He found that raising his children in America posed some differences from what he was accustomed to in India.
Well, I think raising kids here is a little harder. Where I grew up, the neighborhood was very friendly, and we don't have to worry we are playing outside or we're running around, and we didn't have computers or internet or even television when I was a kid. So basically you come from a school and you throw your school bag and you eat and run away, and you come back when it's night. You have to be a little more involved with their lives. So I give my kids as much exposure I can. I want them to learn about every other person. I want to learn about themselves. So I want them to make a choice what they want to practice in their life. But I think as a parent, it's my responsibility to help them understand their roots, where their father came from, how their great-grandfather was or grandmother was, or how their mother is, and at the same time learn teachings of their faith, and at the same time learn teachings of other faiths. So they can understand the commonalities and the differences, so they will appreciate that more.
Dr. Kang is Sikh, which comes from the Sanskrit word shishya, which means disciple or learner. A shining feature of their religion is that the followers are selfless in situations where they commit to help, and without discrimination of caste, creed, or religion. Their history is replete with examples where the followers have given up everything they owned, including their lives, for the protection of others. And significantly, it has been for those totally unrelated to them in any way. They are known for their warm hospitality and welcoming nature. Knowing this, we were curious if being a turban-wearing Sikh in this day and age brought along its challenges.
I think, being a turban Sikh, that was always a challenge. And you always get attention, and people have a lot of questions. Sometimes people treat you in a friendly way, and sometimes people don't. But I learned one thing, that either if I'm going to keep my appearance, I have to take it in a positive way. And even if somebody has some bad things to say or hard things to say, I always took it in a friendly way and try to make every effort to help them understand who I am. And I think after they get to know me as a person, I was always able to overcome the challenges. You have challenge every day, even now. It's not like over. But I think you just have to develop this kind of a sense that you take it as advantage, that somebody is curious about you, they want to know more about you, and it is up to you how you help them understand as a person. When they see you, you're just like them inside. It doesn't matter how you're outside. And I think that's what matters, what is here. And I think I was always able to overcome those difficulties. Rather than, I will say my turban has sometimes even given me advantage. You know, people do a lot of things to get attention. And wherever I walk in, I just have attention. And I think it's up to me how to turn it into a positive energy or positive interactions. And I will say, by and large, people are people, you know. Mm-hmm. You know, somebody asked me when 9/11 happened, there was a lot of people, there was fear. And I told this journalist one thing. I said, look, there's no army or no police in the world can protect you better than your neighbors. If they know you are one of them, they will protect you. You don't have to go anywhere else to get protection. So I think knowing your neighbors and knowing your friends or your colleagues, that's more important than anything else.
Despite any challenges he may have faced, Dr. Kang's respect and love for others changed those he worked with.
One of the night, I was called like 3 in the morning from an emergency room to see a patient who doesn't have a doctor, or the other doctor didn't want to see her, or whatever reason. So I go there. There's an elderly lady. She keeps looking at me in a very unhappy way. So I go there and greet her and say, hi, I'm Dr. Kang. I'm here to help you. And she keeps looking at me. And I said, is there anything wrong? And then she asked me, do I believe that in certain things about her faith? And I said, well, I respect your faith. You know, as a doctor, I respect everybody's faith. And you know, that's my job to help people. And there was another doctor, American doctor who was trained here, and he said, why are you taking all that? And I said, no, it's my job is to help her and not walk away from her. So then she accepted me as her doctor, and over the years, her whole family became my patients. And actually, next day when I went to see her, she had tears in her eyes.
Dr. Kang enjoys working and living in Yuba City, California, 45 minutes north of Sacramento.
I think it's a hidden treasure. A lot of people don't know about Yuba City. It's interesting that more people in Punjab knows about Yuba City than people in America know. Whenever I go out to New York or go to Chicago, when I tell them from Yuba City, they say, what? I say, well, it's close to Sacramento. Oh, okay. But I think Yuba City is a very homely town, and we have a very family-oriented people who live here, and it's a very accepting community. Sikhs have lived in this town for over 100 years, and I think they feel very much part of the mainstream community. And you know, we have great weather, other than a little bit summer. We have a lot of, you know, I'm a biker. I love biking, and there are a lot of places to bike around. There are a lot of places to hike. So I think it's a decent community to live.
Dr. Kang's life of peace and equality evokes the same in others.
You know, as I mentioned earlier, that you know, all Americans come from different backgrounds. Some of them look different. Some of them dress differently. Some of them call the God with a different name. But that is not the difference. I think that there's more in common. We all came with the same dream. We all want to be successful. We all want to have good lives for us and our children or our family. I think that's what is more in common than being uncommon. And if somebody misunderstands you or doesn't get to know who you are, I think the best way to change their mind is not getting mad at them, not getting upset at them. I think the best way is to educate them, being nice to them, being pleasant to them. And that's what I strongly believe, and I have done a lot of things to do that. You know, you have to reach out to people and help them understand. And I think most of the time you can get over all those barriers.
His advice to new immigrants?
Well, I think education always helps. You know, having good education will always give you advantage, but some people were not fortunate enough to have that opportunity, or their parents couldn't give them that opportunity, or they lived in an area that education was not available. But I think the most important thing living in America is when you come to this country, when you walk in this country, you have to think this is your home. And I see sometimes people have mixed feelings, and I think that really makes it hard for you to be accepted. And I think if you, first thing you accept is when you come to America, America just doesn't belong to one kind of people. Some people think it belongs to that kind. No, it belongs to everybody who lives here. And that's, you have to, first thing you say, well, I'm American, and you have to be proud of it, being American. And there's so many opportunities in this country. You just don't have to think that I just want to go to this field. There's so many opportunities. And then you will always find something you are good at. So you have to, second thing is, you have to have hard-working work ethics. This country rewards hard work. There's no shortcut to hard work. And some people think they can succeed. No, I think you have to hard work, and you have to have a right attitude, and then try to mix with all kind of people. Just don't limit to mixing with people from your own background. You have to open up your mind. You have to reach out to everybody, and you will be surprised. You will find so much in common with people. You think they're different, they're not different. And sometimes it helps you, making good connections and getting higher in your life. And if I think these three things, make your home, work hard, and reach out to other people, those things will help you. I think I thank the God for everything, I have.
Elena Mangajas co-chairs the Little Manila Foundation in Stockton, California, and is actively involved in the Asian Pacific community in Central California and beyond. A first-generation immigrant from the Philippines, Elena's strong journalism background was sparked by her days as an activist during college. She continues that fervent spirit with her desire to tell stories, history of early and current Filipino strength and tradition. She invited KBTV to Stockton to share the story of her journey to and in America.
I had two kinds of lives in the Philippines. First, I was born in the province of Capiz, which is in the Visayas, and I lived there until I was 7 years old. My second life was when my family decided to immigrate. My first immigration was to go from a province to Manila, because livelihood was much better in Manila. As always been told to many generations of Filipinos, you're not going to go far being in the province, so you go to Manila. So everybody clusters in Manila, so did we. So I moved to Manila when I was 7.5 years old, and thereon I was living like a city girl. I went to a 4-year private school. In it, you were taught to become a prim and proper and a colegiala. So I went to St. Mary's High School for 4 years, and there I learned everything that I needed to learn about how to be a good Catholic girl. And then I put in my application with the University of the Philippines, and my family did not know that, because I wanted to be in the University of the Philippines. I've heard so much about it. They thought that I applied for college in the Far Eastern University or PCC or one of the other private colleges. But I did, and I passed. And it's a big thing to pass your entrance in a University of the Philippines during that time. And I passed it, and I said, woohoo, I'm going to the University of the Philippines. And I came into the university under protest of my family, because they thought, I'm going nowhere by going to the University of the Philippines, even if it was the most prestigious school in all of Asia at that time. It was not the right thing to do, because it was actually the seat of activism. So when I came in, actually that's when the first barricade known in the history of people power of the Philippines happened on my first year of college. And what did my siblings say? See, I told you so, you're in the wrong school. But little did they know that it wasn't so much about my academic life. It was really more of a creation of a new persona out of me. I could have taken any of the sciences, but your parents always say, or my siblings would say, take the one that will earn you the best money after investing 4 years in college. And I said, no, I'm going to be a journalist. During that time, the nation was tense, and there's, of course, a lot of student protests against the existing government, which we now look back to as the Marcos regime.
Majoring in journalism evoked a desire inside Elena to become more than someone with a 4-year degree, to be who she was.
Chaotic as it may be, it taught me to be involved with the community that was there, that is asking for change in government. So that was bad times, years of living dangerously in the Philippines, years of opposition, of all kinds of opposition, years of blatant journalism against government, years of manifesto, of red books and things like that. And here I was, a girl out of a 4-year Catholic school, telling myself, this is the change and this is the transformation that is going to happen with me. I'm going to join this activist. And we were all marked because we were the opposition voice during that time, and the politicians would come to the campus and we will be the first to welcome them. We wanted them to speak, you know, their manifesto against the government, and we were exposed at that time as oppositionists. During my immigration, I had difficulty wondering if I'd be allowed to leave the country because I've been listed here and there as a student activist in my college years.
Elena worked on campus for the university for 7 years as a research associate for the Institute for Mass Communications.
And during that time, my husband was petitioned by his brother, who lived in Hawaii back then. He was first to leave the household. My husband was petitioned, so by the time his petition came through, I was already married to him, and we were campus friends, actually. He majored in broadcasting, and I majored in journalism, and we met in college, and we got married and things like that. And then he got his approval from the United States of America, you know, saying that you can now go to the United States. And I was kind of adamant in the beginning. I said I didn't want to go to America. I had a good life here. I was committed to making the change that I dreamt of as a journalist in my country. But my husband prevailed, and he said, yeah, let's just check it out. You know, we have some friends of ours who've left the country already, frustrated that there's no future for them back there. We were not really frustrated. We were making the best out of the situation. But I said, let's make a deal. You leave first, and I'll stay, and check it out and find out how life is in America, and then we'll compare notes, and then we'll make an informed decision during that time.
Elena already had one daughter and was pregnant with another. When her husband petitioned for her to come to America, she refused to come until after she had given birth.
I was happy during that time. I was satisfied that I have now 2 Filipino children. And then I said, okay, I'm ready to go to the United States of America. So
in February 1981, she came to America to join her husband. One of her first challenges was changing her husband's minimalist apartment into a family home.
But it was bare bones kind of apartment, and I built from there as a new immigrant here. And I'm sure this happens. You know, you buy these things in a garage sale. My husband said, you see this table? I bought this from a garage sale. You see this bed? This was given to us by a cousin. So everything that we had in that home was really your whole startup kit. I think I was thankful, first of all, that there was a welcome mat that comes from family, from cousins who said, welcome to America. You know, here are the things that you might need. There's a supermarket 2 blocks away, things like that. You got all kinds of instructions. Everybody's helpful.
With family living, one income was no longer enough. Elena considered getting a job, but with the cost of childcare versus actual income, she decided against it.
So my decision really was to stay with them for a while and make that single income work for us. And to this day, I tell people who just started up in America, and I worked with a Filipino organization in the 80s, my first job actually, and I told them of my experience because that's the practical sense of being in America and starting from scratch or starting with such a low income so that you learn to budget and you learn to fend off temptations and you learn to really make sense of the money that you have on hand as it relates to your needs as a family.
A family friend in Stockton spurred a decision to relocate.
But the temptation of a family friend who is here kind of opened up the light for us and said, come on, let's back up and move to Stockton. So one weekend, my husband came in here and started looking for an apartment. Hey, it's affordable in Stockton with my single income, with our family single income. So in due time, I'd say in a week's time, we decided we'll pack up and leave this apartment and move to Stockton.
They made the move, and in 1982, Elena's husband was able to transfer to Stockton with his job. Her favorite part about Stockton?
And to this day, I worship the farmers market. Farmers market here is made up of Filipinos who have, you know, their little farmland, and a lot of Asians, a lot of Cambodians and Vietnamese. And when I saw it, it was the kind of picture that you want to see in a community. So in 1983, I had my first job in America. It's actually with a Filipino nonprofit.
Ironically, Elena's first job in America was helping Filipinos find jobs.
I was just one step ahead, possibly one paycheck ahead of the clients that we were serving in that nonprofit organization. But it was such a rewarding experience for me. And that's the one that opened my eyes about the importance of the history of Filipinos here in Stockton.
Elena and her husband have 2 girls, Johanna and Martha. On raising children in America?
Educating my children is our children. My husband and I believe in education. My husband is a child of academics, and I went to the university. So there's a lot of that academic orientation between the two of us. So it was very important for us that our children get good education and move on to college. I think our proudest moment, my husband and I and their grandmother, who lived with us for a while, and she's passed on, is when my daughter actually passed her pre-SAT with a perfect score. But it didn't stop there. She actually had a perfect score for the actual SAT, so she went down in history as one of the below 1% of high school students, Asians and Filipino for that matter, who got a perfect score in SAT, and it hit the local headline here. Oh, really? Yes, and so, you know, it's something to be proud of as parents. My second daughter, Martha, was engaged in speech, and she won a state award, and she got in the headlines also. And we're hitting the headlines. And I said, this is a good thing. This community is really ours. I mean, we're part of this community. And more importantly, again, you're inspiring the other Filipinos in the things that happen with your children.
Elena co-chairs the Little Manila Foundation, and she's spearheading an effort for a Little Manila Museum in Stockton to maintain its history. What you are seeing here is a preview of what you may see in that museum.
Some of the things that we do under the Little Manila Foundation, which I co-chair, I've co-chaired in the last 2 years, is we bring in students from universities during their spring break and in the summertime and tour them in the Little Manila district that was created, again, by these young people who've inspired the creation of Little Manila Foundation. Just for statistics, I need to explain that actually Stockton was the hub of Filipinos, the largest concentration of Filipinos outside of the Philippines in the 1920s. This is the capturing of Stockton as the seat of Filipino-American history. It's such a wonderful undertaking, and we're not even halfway there.
Her advice for new immigrants?
I can advise a newcomer immigrant to say, to believe in who they are and bring their culture because it's part of them. Do not leave it in the Philippines. Bring it here, celebrate it, live it, and pass it on to your next generation. To be Filipino all the way, anywhere you are, whether you're in America or somewhere else, is a good, positive move. To stay Filipino, be Filipino, express your being a Filipino.
CC Yin is an established entrepreneur who recognizes the need to serve his community as much as he can. Besides owning over 20 McDonald's restaurants in the area, CC is also one of the founders of APAPA, a foundation for Asian Pacific Islander American Public Affairs. CC Yin is also recognized as a continuing active leader and a participant in community and civic organizations. He is actively involved in a number of organizations and institutions such as the Vacaville Rotary Club, the Vacaville Counterforce Program, his local NAACP chapter, and local schools as well as other educational programs. CC invited KBTV to his ranch in Vacaville to tell us a story of his journey to America.
Well, there are two parts of my living condition before I come to America. First part, I was 12 years old, and before that, I was living in the farm, a poor farm in central west China. So that was basically very basic, primitive, no medical care, no nothing, just survive yourself through the farming country. But we're so poor, once a year we're allowed to eat a piece or fat, you know. But year-round you don't have any meat. And once a year during our birthday, or my birthday, I was allowed to have one egg, you know, boiled egg. But after the war was over, at 8 years old, my parents took us to the city for start education. So there was no school in the farm, I started third grade, and I didn't have. So I was failing real badly. Two reasons: without prior education. Second, I'm a very slow person, learn very slowly. In my whole family, I'm the slowest person among 9 sister brothers. So I was failing real bad in the schools in the Chongqing, which is a big city in the Sichuan. But my sister was doing good, so I was good encouragement because I can see I can follow her. After 12 years, the communists took over China. My father was working for the government of Chiang Kai-shek, you know, which was driven out of mainland, 1949. I was 12 years old, so my sister and I followed my father to Taiwan, where we spent next 16 years.
While in Taiwan, his sister Eleanor moved to America. Shortly thereafter, CC decided to make the trip as well.
So I came here in 1964 at age 28. I didn't speak English nor the culture, and I borrowed $100 from my cousin. But I used half the money to buy a lot of books, you know, the cheap books at that time, no copyright cheap books, you know. And I spent about $30 to pay for my ship. I pay very cheaply because it's a cargo ship, small one. It's kind of like a boat running around the Pacific, going to many ports, Japan, other places, pick up supplies, deliver supplies. It took me about a month to reach a port. I didn't know where I was going, of course. This was a sailor, took me to his bedroom in the middle of the boat, and I survived that. So I was vomiting very badly, seasick. So I survived that 30 days. He asked me where I'm going. I said, well, I really don't know. I'm going to America. He said, I know you're going to America, but where are you going? I said, well, looks like I'm going to land in Los Angeles.
With only a broken suitcase full of books held together by a rope, CC got a job at a restaurant. But the language barrier immediately became apparent.
First, they asked me to, you know, it was a man wanted something. Here I go. So I went there. Multiple. They said, multiple. I said, okay, multiple. So I went back to the waiter. I said, what's multiple? I said, multiple is a cigarette. I never know. I can't even pronounce multiple at that time. I said, multiple. I said, multiple, it's a cigarette.
But his first day on the job exposed the fact that CC had no prior experience.
Okay. So I took one glass of water to the lady first, right? Between them, that tray tipped because the weight. I didn't know. You have to tip yourself. You know, if you're experienced, you tip automatically. Yeah. So that doesn't overturn. That one, like the gentleman's jacket, you know, is very high class. So you know, I was fired first job. That was good though. You know, actually, it gave me a lot of courage and creativity to survive.
And survive he did. CC worked 2 jobs and was able to save enough money to move to Seattle to join his sister and began attending the University of Washington.
But every week I have to work 2 days. Friday I work Saturday I work 1 day to pay for my food, and Sunday I work 1 day to pay for my supplies and small things. And I live in the basement of a lady who, we call it houseboy. That you live free in the basement, you know. You help the lady to clean up yard work, wash cars, you know, carry things like that. I met my wife in the University of Washington. She was a social work major. I was an engineer major. She too lived in the house as a house girl, helped take care of other little babies like that. I took care of older lady. So we're very much the same, you know, same background. We moved down here, rented a place in San Francisco that was so expensive to us. So we moved out, but I was able to find a house in San Carlos, that Belmont, next to San Carlos. Nobody want that house, seriously, for years. And the realtor refused to take me there. I insist because of the price. You know, this is about half the price. The reason this lady kind of have all the garbage piled in the house that high, you can't open the door. They had one boy to paint the house black, and it's just kind of like that. The husband ran away after many years, can't even find the house, so they cannot sell the house, and nobody want to see the house either. But it's a good location. Structurally it's good, but just, you know, ran down like that.
He bought that house and fixed it up. This experience just inspired Cece to do more.
So I borrowed money from my sister brothers and to buy a rundown house in the same area. I rebuilt that, and I moved up to 4 units. Next one we moved up 24 units in Campbell. Next one we moved up 72 units in Hayward over 12 years' time. Those are good years. I was lucky. 70s was good. I never knew, you never knew what it was out there.
On becoming an American citizen,
that was about 10 years after I came here, but working about 7 years as engineer in San Francisco. And actually was very excited about it. Before my time, I understand, took a long time, 10 years to wait, 10 years, so it took me only a total about 5 years to go through the process. I thought I was finally, reached my dream. I'd be accepted as a citizen of a beautiful country where I always want to come to build my new life. And at the same time, I also feel there's not a responsibility. Now you are given the so-called citizenship. That means you have responsibility, come with obligations and rights. I have to be sure I do the votes, understand the government, all that stuff, and learning more about American culture. My present life is very fulfilling and very full, mentally and physically and emotionally, very full. Over the times, 42 years in America, and I happen to be very lucky that met my wife, who were very supportive for me to chase my dreams. I use dreams because I had different dreams every 20 years.
And Cece's advice to new immigrants?
Being immigrants, especially from Asia, as a newcomer to the country that's been built by others plus Asians in small portion, is very challenge. A great challenge, emotionally, financially, physically, because your supporting system is not there. And however, America is a great country. Have the best system. I come from a country with 5,000 years continuous civilization. Still, this is so far I know of. In the world, America is the one that has most opportunity and most freedom to immigrants. America has been built by immigrants to this date and many years to come. We have to remember that, because people like us seeking good new life, we build America together. And so America has not been built yet. It's still being built by new people like us, There are many things we can do to make the country better. Number one, my advice is that just focus on your dream, what you want to do. Focus on good things the country or people offer to you. And over time, it becomes your character, making you a better person, a stronger person, a more capable person, that you can compete with any other people who have been here before us. We immigrants become a strong character, strong individuals, strong leaders, that we can compete, not just as workers. So my advice to us to think about this is your country, number one. You're not foreigners. Doesn't matter what they tell you. You have to believe in, but doing that, this opportunity, this obligation, this responsibility, we have to take care of ourselves, take care of our family, take care of our friends. You know, when you are in business or worker, take care of the workers. Take care of your business, the people working for you. Then you take care of the community, take care of the customer if you have customers. In this way, you know what happened? Because the system is so good, you get a reward. You may get a half reward you deserve in comparison with some other folks. So what? Don't think about other folks. Think about yourself. What I get a reward in my country was at that time, or when I came, there was no such opportunity. I can't even get any reward. You know, I mean, that time, now they're different, of course. So my advice, again, is to be the best you can and take care of the people working for you, with you, or doing business with you, or government people that they are working with you to make the community, the country better. And we have to give at any time you have anything, you can give back to it. Small start first, time, energy, money, and when you become more successful, you have more things to give. You need to continue to give more in a proportion what you have. In doing that, it's not just about material, money. It is actually, it is a dream that everybody, I come here, I didn't come here to be rich. I come here to survive and to feel good that I can do better than, I can do better. Good spirit, good character, good attitude. That three things is so important to anybody's success.